Welcome back to the Tracie Trendy Show, my lovelies. It's another day. It's another dollar. And guess what, my loves? It's the final episode the of Life After Lockup, my loves. The final one. Okay? The crown couple, the one who brought it all season long is JK and Brooke. My loves, they are fighting to the bitter end. And apparently, the cops are called. The neighbors don't want to hear that mess. And JK was like, wait, hold up, Brooke. I ain't trying to get a return ticket back to the pokey. So the cops leave after they said they're going to pipe down, but Brooke doesn't know the definition of pipe down. She's still mad at JK. So he finally tells her that Brooke is pregnant and he might be the pappy. And, in order to be the pappy, you have to have cheated. You have to have cheated, JK. And Brooke flips out. And JK had the audacity to blame her erratic behavior on his cheating. He said, you made me cheat. Okay? Then she mollywops him. Smacks him, almost knocks out the few teeth that he does have. Well, actually, he got some teeth put in. Yeah, he got some teeth put in. But the new teeth could have been smacked out. And, she wanted a man for her to be a family man for her children. All right. Just like all these other birds. And JK is over her little screeching. And he says, screw it, closes the door. And she says, they're over. And his mama, when he comes in the door, said, you don't need a woman like that. She gonna send you right back to prison. And mama's not wrong. She come barging in there, disrespecting her house, screaming and everything, got the neighbors calling, and the first person they're going to arrest is JK. And then Brooke takes her kids out, and she got to break it down to her kids that this man ain't in their lives. And that's what birds deserve. They go fly off and pick some guy from the world's, junkyard, and it doesn't pan out. So she tells the boys, and they're not really affected because, he didn't follow through with his promises. He hadn't been around. And even JK knows he's messed up, even with Brooke and with the boys. But he misses the boys, even though he ain't been around them. And he's just talking about the women. He said Alex comes with a lot of bags. She got kids. Well, stop messing with women with kids then. Now, he said his fault is that he has a roaming eye, but he feels as if once he finds the right one, he's going to stop that cheating. And in the meantime, Brooke rolls out of town with her boys. She got a new job, and she's looking for her next relationship. In the junkyard. She's trying to find them a daddy in the junkyard again. Or I think she's trying out to stay on that Sharp Entertainment dime. But this time, she's like Tia. Not Tia. What is the chick's name? Oh my gosh. But anyway, she's talking to multiple cons. Brooke is. So she's trying to get back on that Sharp Entertainment train. And JK is doing what JK is doing. JK is hoeing. And Alex had a baby girl, and they're waiting on the results of the paternity test. So I don't know. I doubt that JK is the father, as I said in the last Low Down Dirt. Now, moving on to Deandre, Joella, and Kiana. They are on the docket. All Joella wants is a clear understanding. Since her kids are going to be around Kiana, she wants a woman-to-woman talk with Kiana. And she wants to be reimbursed for the items that were in her car. And all Kiana could think is, man, she need to put on her big panties because she just want to bark at me, blah, blah, blah. But Joella is holding all the cards. She could keep those charges going or she could drop them. So anyway, Deandre says he wants them to squash the issue. But Kiana doesn't want to go to meet Joella. She does not want to go. But, her own attorney said that Joella is holding all the cards. So when she said she didn't want to go, Deandre is so quick to turn around his card. So I don't think Deandre wanted them to squash the issue because he's scared of what Joella may say and what Jamaila's receipts that she will produce. That's what it is. But all Jamila wants is clarity. But she doesn't think Kiana wants that real conversation. It's going to be too much. The truth will be too much. And Kiana knows. But anyway, to jumpstart the conversation, Joella rolls up to Kiana's house. The camera stopped rolling to give them space, but they talk for whatever. They were barking at each other, really. And nothing really got accomplished. In the end, Joella says that she's done with Deandre, but he is still creeping, and she shows the text messages. Now, my loves, after the filming of the show, they're all messing around with each other. Okay? Because Kiana and Deandre are fighting. Deandre trot over to Joella's house. You know what could happen. And anyway, when Joella leaves, Kiana comes over to Joella's house. Joella says, wait a minute, you can't be saddling both sides of the fence. And guess what? She finds them in the car. Joella finds Kiana and Deandre in the car, and she pepper sprays them. All right? But at the time of this filming of this video, Kiana and Deandre are still a happy couple. Kiana's going to bury her head in the sand because she'd rather have a man, a piece of a man, than no man at all. That's all. That's it. Next on the docket is another couple that was bringing it, and that is Courtney and Will. Now, they are just doing their confessional, their exit speech. And as it stands, Will and Courtney got it on the night before this confessional. And lo and behold, some guy brings Courtney to the confessional when Will thought he was probably making some inroads with her. But anyway, so Will is in his feelings. He goes out for a smoke. And he just said, you know what? In hindsight, I wish I hadn't slept with her. I wish I had just kind of handle my own business and not go to her for any kind of healing, sexual healing. Anyway, that's when the producer asked them to both spill the tea. What happened after Courtney tore up those divorce papers? Well. Courtney says that Will rolled up to the house. He rolled right on back to the house. They got intimate. And Will ends it by saying he was kicked out the house. But apparently, after Will and Courtney knocked the boots, Will got into it with the housemates. And he was like, wait a minute, Courtney, you're not even backing me up. You're not. And Courtney says that he was being disrespectful to the people in the house. And Will disagreed. He said they came at him first. And she never had his back. And Courtney said that it was just that toxic mess that happens. They fight and have some great sexy times. But Will can't kind of separate it like that. He got caught up in his feelings because Courtney was, whispering sweet nothings in his ears while they were having their little sexy time. Then the next day, she shows up with another man. And he feels as if what she was whispering in his ear the night before meant nothing. And it probably didn't. And he just feels as if, you know what? He's just, an ATM to her. And Courtney fires back and says that when she went on that prison, okay, this is what Courtney says. She fires back and says, look, what were you expecting? You were expecting a healthy relationship when you go looking for prisoners on a prisoner's dating site? That's the junkyard. That's society's outcast. And that's where you go looking for a healthy relationship. And he said, no, that was very naive of him to go think that was a good place. And then he asked, did she ever cheat on him? Did she ever? And she said she didn't sleep with Mark. But if we dial it back, Mark said they got a little hanky-panky. He didn't go as far as saying they did the deed, but they did a little something. Anyhow, she did say that when they broke up, she did sleep with someone, but she refused to name the person's name because she said she did that because she was so mad and she'd rather have slept with somebody other than fall off the wagon and, do some candy. All right. So Will wants to know, okay, so you cheated. So how many men? How many men? How many men? And she was like, it was one. And you're a quitter. You're a quitter, Will, after giving up so soon. And he said she would hit him up only if she wanted something. And he put every effort into the relationship. So he was done. Because the only time she gonna hit him up is if there's something given them needs to have. He needs to make some ching ching ching. And you know what? He said he stopped putting in effort. It's not, he noticed the pattern. He noticed the pattern. It was give me, give me, give me. Once I ain't got anything else to say to you. So he was kind of done. And the filming, their confessional was a wrap. So anyway, he hops on the train, the next thing smoking, and he just felt betrayed by Courtney. And so betrayed, he think he could feel that bad. But it's time, he head on home. And 2 weeks later, Courtney's working on cars. And she says that job is pretty good. It helps her fight her little demons inside of her. And she says she wants a male, not a bitch in the next relationship. So, and she said the only thing she regrets about that marriage is that she said hi to Will. So she's trying to play all hardcore. Oh, anyway, moving on to Zaria and Troy. Now, Troy bringing up his mama to his house, and he got some news to break to her. And Karen's like, what, did you and Zaria break up or something? And he says, no. So she walks up into the house and sees Zaria's big ass belly. She's like, whoa. And Zaria says she's 6 months pregnant. And they all want to get together because Zaria, Troy, and Karen have been fighting on and off camera. And they want to make amends. They want to move forward. And so Karen jokes that they probably just want to get her as a babysitter at this point because they were basically ghost to her until she shows up. They bring her over to the house. Of course, they bring her to the house when there's filming because I think it's a package deal. Zaria and Troy gonna need Karen every time they go on this show. They can't just be a duo. So they bring Karen. And Karen is smart, and she says, "Yeah, y'all want me to be a babysitter? The hell!" And Zaria says, "Nope." And I'm like, she knows she don't need Karen because she got her own parents watching their other child. So that's probably what she gonna do when she had this baby. That baby might have some special needs. I don't know because allegedly she was up there smoking that ganja. Just saying, that's what it was on Reddit. Allegedly. Anyway, Troy and Karen have a talk outside in the back. And Karen wants to stop him telling folks that she didn't love him. And then they get to arguing. And he says she wasn't there. And she says, well, you were with your daddy and with everybody else around you. You weren't missing for anything. You wasn't for anything. All that stuff. And Karen, I think, needs to understand that she was not a great mom. Karen probably had a lot of trauma back in her day. Karen has fessed up that she was a streetwalker. And I think there was something in Karen's history, some trauma that she is not revealing. That's what I think. Because she straight out said she was Troy's daddy was a trick. And but she thinks as if Troy had it good and she loved him and he shouldn't be beefing about or even concerned about her lack of presence. She says she was there till he was 4 years old, but that's not, you need to be longer than that, Karen. 4 years old is nothing. You got to do it, be to the bitter end. So anyway, they get to arguing And Karen refuses to accept that she was wrong in how she, I don't think she was bringing him up, but the lack of bringing up Troy. So they all get into it. She even gets into it with Zaria. And eventually they kind of squash the issue. They kind of squash it. Zaria is really she must be on her meds. She must be on her meds because last season she was off her meds because Troy told her not to be on the meds. And we all saw how wackadoo she was on without her meds, how she was on the show last time. So anyway, Karen during her confessional says she didn't trust Zaria, but she sees that her son is happy. Troy is happy, but she's gonna always keep that side eye on Zaria because she knows Zaria went creeping at one point when Troy was in the pokey. And then, they all laughing and they showing the sonogram pictures. And Karen is amazed at the size of her future grandchild's peen. Oh my goodness, she couldn't get enough of looking at how big, the biggest thing she ever seen for a baby, she says. Now, moving on to Justine and Mike. My gosh, this was such a snooze fest. Do not bring them back. This is all about a stupid wedding when they didn't have no damn money anyway for a $60,000 wedding. Mike reveals to Justine that they don't have the money. They don't have $100,000. They don't even have money for the barbershop. They don't have money for the wedding because one of the cars that they are renting out needs $30,000 engine. I'm like, just get another car. Get another car. Get a couple of cars. You don't have to have all luxury cars to rent them out. But anyway, that's them and their money. Anyway, they kiss and make up. But they're all like, you know what I think? I think Justine was in on it. It just seemed all fake and phony. All fake and phony. I'm not even gonna say another breath from them. Moving on to Letitia and Keith. They're on the docket. They got to arguing about a prison proposal that he didn't remember it, and how could he forget? And they out there on the street fighting or arguing. And Keith, just like JK, I don't want a return ticket back to the pokey. So he calls his aunt. She swerves around and picks him up, leaves Letitia on the curb. And, Keith feels as if Letitia blows things out of proportion over having a wedding. They got bills. They got to do things proper way. And his aunt kind of talked some sense to him. She said, you know what? It doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You can have a vow renewal and make her happy because happy life, happy wife, happy life. So that kind of resonated with Keith. So he surprises Letitia. He got the boy, his son, and her daughters, and his father to do the service, the wedding ceremony. And tears, little girl, Letitia's youngest was crying. And the oldest finally, she finally cracked a smile. But for me, Letitia, you can't be pushing these little, you bringing in teenagers and you got a little kid. You just can't all mesh the family in like that. You got to vet and you always keep an eye out on your girls, Letitia. I mean, the boy looks okay, but you just never know. I'm just saying, because that boy's been in foster care and been through some things. And I think, my loves, this concludes that wonderful season of Life After Lockup. This season was giving. I mean, I could have done without Justine and Mike, but everybody else, even Bianca and Daniel, gave something. But I think Justine and Michael were just kind of like Maurice and what's her name? Brittany. We don't need that. We don't need that filler stuff. We need our trash. We don't need some pseudo fakeness. Just give us the straight trash. Give us our hot mess express. Okay, straight, no chaser. We don't need the chaser of Justine and Mike. So anyway, my loves, we also found out that what's her name? Letitia. She got arrested soon after filming ended. And I did a video on that. Yes. Woo! But you know what? She had a cash bond of $40,000. $40,000. And guess who bailed her out? Keith did. 40 G's. So she didn't spend too much time in jail, but you know what? She got to face the judge again. So hopefully she'll stay out of mess. Hopefully Keith can settle her down because this is ridiculous. So I think, oh yeah, and Bianca, let's move it on. Bianca has a new boyfriend and she is pregnant with this. And I think her and Daniel have been separate, over with for about a year, 1 year. And she done got knocked up by another guy and she's about 3 or 4 months pregnant. And then of course, Will's wife, ex-wife, Courtney, yeah, she's in a new relationship. And that guy, he spends money on her. He spends the money on her. And that's why she with him. It's a transactional relationship, my loves. So that is like a little tea on, the wrapping up of the couples. What do you guys think? Drop a line below. Subscribe if you have not subscribed, okay? As well as hit that notification bells because YouTube plays tricks, my loves. And I'm going to catch you all out on the flip side.